गुस्सा आ रहा है.
So I have the lovely Mona Singh with me. Thank you so much for joining me in this conversation, Mona.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's so good to see you.
Absolutely. And congratulations. Yet another hit and fantastic. How are you feeling? Something that people didn't see quite coming, right, Munja? And what a fantastic movie and what a great role. Did you
Thank
enjoy?
you.
Did you ever imagine it would be so big?
No, not really, not at all. In fact, everybody has been calling Munja a case study. They're like, "ये हुआ क्या
Absolutely.
है?" You know,
Right.
and it just it reinforces the fact that content is king and always will
Yeah.
be. You see,
Right.
it's such a great story.
Yeah.
A Konkan folklore traveling like across boundaries, and people are watching it. People were going crazy. People were having fun. There were so many reels going around Munja. And then eventually, it became a word of mouth, and
Yeah.
people started going to the theaters. It was unprecedented.
Right. I think it's been one of the most brilliant sleeper hits of the year
Yes.
and the past few years, which, as you said, also reinforces the idea of our own stories, the power
Yeah.
of our own stories,
Yes.
whether it's
Yes.
epic or folklore. There's so much that's out there.
Exactly. You see, I've been saying that India is such a big country, and every 200 kilometers, the water changes, language changes. Imagine how many stories we have to tell. Why
Right.
don't we dig in and, get those unique stories out and show it to the world? We have so much to show.
Right.
But we keep adapting these silly formulas of great song and dance and foreign locations, and we lose the impact of a great story. So
Right.
I think it's a lesson for everybody to understand that one should focus on story first, and then the cast, and then the songs and everything.
Right. But of course, you need to have that whole ensemble make it happen.
Yeah.
Beginning with the production house, which has the imagination to put money on a film like
Yeah.
this. Then,
Yeah.
then the filmmaker, the producer Amar Kaushik, who has really, I think, a amazing brain. And then actors like you who can bring such a story alive. So talk about when the project came to you. What was your reaction, and how actually the story unfolded.
So, Kaveri, it just so happened that I was holidaying with my friends with my family in Pune, and Aditya Sarpodar, our director of the film, happens to be from Pune, and he was
Okay.
there at that time. And my casting director, Anmol, he called me and he's like, "Listen, the director wants to see you, and since you both are in Pune right now, can you meet him?" I was like,
Right.
"Really? Yeah, I don't mind at all." So I went to meet Aditya, and uh, first we were catching up on how good the city is, and talking about all the old joints where I used to go to during my college days, and he also visited the same places and stuff. So we were bonding on Pune connection, and then he started narrating the story to me, and I absolutely loved it. I found it so intriguing. You see, coming from living in Maharashtra for so many years, but I'd never heard of a folklore called Munja. That there's this whole ceremony that takes place, and the mundan happens, and if a person dies within those 13 days of
Yeah.
mundan, it becomes munja. So I was so curious to know more. So he's like, "Abhi Bombay jate hain, and let's read." I was like, "Great." I said, "I am in." I said, "Let's do this," because it's a universe that I had never explored before, comedy horror genre. And coming from Maddock, I've been a fan of all their films. I
Yeah.
love Stree, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching Stree. So for me, I thought this is a great opportunity to explore something that I've never done before. I've always I've always bent towards drama and intense
Hmm.
storytelling and compelling stories and stuff. So it was something very new for me too, and top it all with comedy. So I was like, "ये कभी किया नहीं है, let's do it." So I had fun. I had fun. You know, this Punjabi and Maharashtrian combination that Pammi had. I loved it. And you know,
Yeah,
acting with Sharvari and Abhay and Taran, they were bringing all this, you know, young energy to set. We had so much fun. We shot in these beautiful locations in Konkan. We went to this place called Kudal. We went to another place called Guhagar. Such clean, beautiful, you know, pristine
wonderful.
beaches and unexplored beaches, you know, not ruined by tourists yet. So
After the film, we don't know.
we don't know. Yeah, that's what happens. So and having the local cuisine over there, you know, Aditya's family is from Konkan, so he was
Oh,
taking us out and looking after us. We had a
lovely.
great time.
Right.
And the kind of response the movie has got is just so motivating.
Yeah. And also, I think Amar's universe of horror comedy has a lot to do with nature as well, whether it's
Yeah.
Bheria or there's always, of course, one is the feminist angle, but the other is nature and, trees and forests and what happens when they get destroyed. So there's somewhat of a lesson for us there as well, right? In
Yes.
terms of climate change, environment, what's happening in the world. Our folklore is so rich with all that, right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And I
So,
think that was one of the main reasons that, you know, people went to and
yeah,
had a good time because they all discovered a whole new story.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so Mona, how is life after Made in Heaven, after Munjia, one after the other, Kala Pani, one after the other, so many wonderful things happening in your life. I know there's a lot more that we can look forward to, but talk about this particular time in your life. And of course, you never looked better. You've always looked wonderful, but
Oh,
you've never
thank
looked
you.
better.
Thank
And
you.
there's a new energy in your in what you do, in how you speak. How is it? Uh,
I think
how is
this
it
new
in the life at
energy.
times of Mona Singh?
Yeah, well, I think you just said it. This new energy, this whole, you know, aura, this new aura is because of the different shows which have, you know, come
Yeah.
out. It's because of the appreciation I'm receiving. It's a great phase. It's such a beautiful phase in my life. I never want this to end. uh,
Of
I
course,
I have many more, you know, releases lined up, and I'm
I
very,
know.
very excited about all those releases. There are four shows coming out on OTT. There is a movie which will be coming out soon. And
Wow.
I'm collaborating with some great makers from September onwards. And I'm very excited about that too. And I just feel very lucky, grateful, and blessed. You know, God and audience have been very, very kind.
But also, you have given them so much of yourself, right? I mean, from the Jesse days, you've given them so much of your own self, of your own life. And then there was a period when you retreated, and I think you worked on yourself. And,
Yes,
that is really something that people need to learn out there. One is patience, and the other is resilience and reinvention. Three different
yes.
aspects, which I think you've done very well. But not everybody has that kind of patience and, that kind of strength to see the difficult times through, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. I think it's very important in any industry, whichever industry you are in,
Wherever you are, yeah,
to reinvent, you know,
yeah,
and to come to terms with reality. I think it
yes,
is because that is the cornerstone of evolution, you know. For me especially, I think, and also because of that, you know, the goalposts just keep shifting
yeah,
because you're in check with reality. And I was so wanting to reinvent myself, to change the way I look, you know. And I was just being lazy. I just kept procrastinating. I kept making my, you know, new year resolutions, but never stuck by it. But I think now, after this weight loss, I have promised myself to, you know, to just maintain and keep fit. But if a role demands for me to put on weight, I will.
yeah.
I will.
No,
But
no, don't, don't.
No, just for a role, maybe. But yeah, I think
Speaking
for
from
every
someone who's struggled with weight as well, don't. No, but I think the point, Mona, that I think this is so beautifully said that coming to terms with reality and accepting that goalposts do shift and
yeah,
changing along with them. It's very difficult to do, right? You want
yeah,
to live in a world where you think you're the best,
yes,
and the world is not
yes.
doesn't realize it.
Yeah, that's what happens. You see,
Yeah,
most of the people who have played a lead in
yeah,
every show and suddenly switching to playing a character, people don't
right,
take that well. But
yeah.
but I just adapted. I just adapted. I was like, this is the new reality, and let's adapt and let's show all different shades with all the characters that I get to play.
Right. And
Yeah,
create such iconic characters. It's so difficult, no? From a Jussie to create new iconic characters which people love, like the
yeah.
Made in Heaven character. How difficult is it to get more than one character in your life, right?
It is tough. It is tough because you see such characters get offered very few, in
Yeah,
between. You have to wait it out. And patience being the biggest virtue. Otherwise, you will just lose it because there's nothing, there's no security in this industry. You're
yeah,
always unsure about what is going to happen tomorrow. Whether people will remember me, forget me, give me
mm,
something interesting to do. You don't
yeah.
know because I've also been around for 20 years.
20 years is a long
Yes.
time in a
Yes.
in a very youth obsessed
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah, it
I mean,
is youth obsessed.
everybody wants to hide their age.
Everybody wants to. And now I'm in my 40s, I'm exploring more. There's
Yeah,
so much more to do, and I'm so happy about the fact that story and storytelling has evolved over the years.
right.
It pushes an actor to their very limit.
Yeah,
And whether it is OTT or it is films, whether limited screen time or expanded screen time, you get to perform. And there's so much more for a woman to do, so much
yeah,
court to play. तो
right.
मतलब सिर्फ नेगेटिव और पॉजिटिव नहीं है. She's in
Yeah,
between, she's
yeah.
layered. There are 50 and plus more shades for to a woman. And I think this is the best phase for actors like me in their 40s.
Yeah, it's lovely. So, but Mona, talk a little about the kind of environment that you were brought up in as well, which has allowed you to develop this strength of will. It hasn't come overnight. So, talk a little about the kind of work you put in yourself psychologically. We know the physical bit, but
Yeah.
psychologically to, be spiritually and mentally tough. Not tough, I would say strong.
Strong, yes, for sure. You see, I practice meditation. I've been practicing yoga. I come from a family where we all have been pretty fearless and liberated. We all have not uh, my parents always gave me the freedom to choose, and I think that's very very liberating for a kid, where
Right.
they tell you to take responsibility of your decisions and choices. And I think that's the way it should be, because you shouldn't be blaming anybody else for
Yeah.
your mistakes or your choices. I have owned up every decision of mine. I've taken full responsibility of my choices. I have celebrated every victory, small or big, with my family. And I think that comes to play when for the kind of person that I am today, and being persistent, and knowing very well that in this industry nothing is really permanent, not success,
Right.
not failure. I've just been persistent, I have taken my chances. And i and i think that's so important to stay relevant in today's
Yeah,
times. Otherwise you
absolutely.
just get lost.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people, and every year there are new
Yeah.
brighter stars, brighter
Yes.
actors. You come from an army family, Mona?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
that explains some of it.
Biggest reason. Biggest
Because
reason.
I always feel that the army wives are almost as strong as the soldiers out there, right?
They
Because
are.
they're the ones who keep it together.
Yes, they are. They really keep it together. You see, my parents, they're the biggest example. My father was in the 71 war. He's a war veteran.
Wow.
Okay. and he lost his foot in the
Was
war. Okay,
really?
he stepped on a mine. He lost his foot. He was in his early 20s, not even married at that time. And my mom married him. It was a arranged marriage. So when we asked my, when we used to ask my mother, ki how, how did you decide to marry Papa? She's like, he's a real life hero. He's an
Wow.
inspiration. Not once she thought that he's handicapped. Not
What a,
once.
what a great story.
What a great story. And you see, I get that from my parents. The fearlessness, the resilience to face any challenge in life, to
What's your
adapt.
father's name?
Jasbir Singh, Colonel Jasbir Singh.
Wow. So he fought
Yeah.
in the 71 war. Infantry or?
Engineer.
Okay,
Engineer.
right.
He's a Bombay sapper. So
Wow.
yeah. So he has such great stories to tell, the war stories when they were entering the Pakistan border
Yeah.
and all of that. So, we come from that background. And I think it just makes us very, very adaptable,
Explains everything.
fearless,
Yeah.
explains everything. We adjust. And
Yeah.
I don't take adjusting as a in any negative way. I don't. If you don't adjust, if you're not willing to learn or unlearn,
Yeah.
you'll never really grow as an individual,
Right.
you know.
So what can you talk about that's forthcoming, Mona? I know there's lots, especially
Yes.
Stardust or whatever it's called with, I think that's Aryan Khan's debut. I know you can't talk about it. What can you talk about?
Mm. Well, I can talk about Makasam, which I just finished with Prime. Uh,
Okay, wow,
and we finished that like 2 months ago. We were shooting mostly in Delhi and Bombay. It was
nice.
so much fun, and I am looking so different in that show also because of my weight loss. The
Okay,
a sudden shift happened,
shit,
for the character. She's
right.
this heart shake mommy who's a single independent mother, and
Uh-huh.
getting out of salwar kameez was a first time on screen for me. So I was a little conscious and confident too. But I had such a good time. She goes on these multiple dates with hot guys,
Oh,
and uh,
very nice.
yeah, so it was very new for me also. Suddenly people were not calling me cute and chubby. Yeah.
Great, nice. So I look forward to that, and I'm sure there's a lot more. But many congratulations for becoming part of the Maddox universe of
Thank
mad
you.
horror comedy. I don't know what they'll do next, but they're really something to watch out for. Thank you
Yes.
so much, and all the very
Thank
best again.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Lots of love to you.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you so
Bye.
much,
Thank
Bye.
you.
ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mona. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.